Okay. We want to do the fifth day again. Then Good morning, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, welcome to the news review. All right, it's Christmas. Christmas is in the air, and this is the news review brought to you by Interplus. Wherever you are, we make sure water reaches you, even in space. First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different, and Del Cielo Opticals, the vision care experts. Are you tired of using a hose or buckets to water your farm every time? Are you worried the rains won't come? Get the best out of your farm with InGreen irrigation systems now. Available are both drip and sprinkler irrigation systems tailored to match your needs. InGreen. Well, you can call us on 0302-819-000. InGreen is another quality solution from Interplast. And with Interplast, wherever you are, we make sure water reaches you, even in space. Now, getting cash to clear your goods to sell can be a nightmare if you do not have the right financial support. First Atlantic Bank is your perfect partner to cushion you with our Atlantic Traders facility for importers. Get as much as 75,000 Ghana cedis to clear your goods and pay back over 60 days. Visit any of our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Techiman, Tamale, and Takrade, or call us on 0302-682-204 or 0302-679-248 for further information. Kindly note, terms and conditions apply. First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different. So good morning, Raymond. Good morning, Edwin. And good morning, Annie Osabuti.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, and how are we doing this morning?
Fantastic.
Great.
Yeah. Awesome. And Annie's here to review the Mirror newspaper.
That's the only one I'm here to review.
That's the only newspaper that exists this morning for us.
Raymond has chronic the chronic.
But Annie, what's happening this Christmas? Tomorrow is party in the park. Oh?
Yeah, tomorrow is party in the park, and I definitely will be there. You know, I remember back then, like when I was here, and it was party in the park, right? And Eric Anyanyo was doing the news at the time, and he said, "Park in the party."
so he put the park in the party.
Absolutely.
It must be a very big party.
Oh, it is. And it's like anytime you go there, you know, you have all these families come. And there was a little kid I interviewed at the time. I think it was like 2 years. And the last time I saw him, he's really grown, you know, and I met him through a friend. And it's a great place where you go and you meet people.
Yeah. I've been there a couple of times.
It's a great place. Edwin, you've been partying in the park.
Yeah, you know, it's such a good getaway for families. You know, the kids are playing, they are so excited, they are moving up and down, you are chasing after them, they are doing cooking competitions and things like that. I actually got to be a judge at testing one of the foods.
I'm sure that was very enjoyable.
They didn't give me enough, so I marked them down.
Okay, guys, let's start with the front pages before we do anything else.
Now, the Chronicle is reporting this morning, minority lied over Oslo. The majority hits back, and there's also one issue you should be interested in. NDC threatens to boycott EC meetings. Then ADB finally meets 400 million BOG requirements. Those are the stories the Chronicle is reporting this morning.
In the Daily Graphic this morning, woman 54 sets husband and rival ablaze. There's also the ROPA committee inaugurated to implement roadmap. Inside the Daily Graphic, you have bread and fuel protest grip Sudan towns. So if you're in Sudan, Christmas is about bread. And inside the Daily Graphic, government to pay allowances to divisional chiefs and judicial committee members.
Now, the Finder is reporting this morning, chocolate is a game changer. Substantial welfare system actually processing the cocoa into chocolate products. That's according to the CPCMD. Yours is the only government that has granted our request. This is the Sandem Nab to President Akufo-Addo. There's a story about Forestry Commission coming nerves after afforestation workers decided to embark on their protest. And RTI coalition is urging Ghanaians to quiz MPs on the RTI bill, since it's become very clear that as the thing looks now,
It's not coming anytime.
not
now.
this year.
Somewhere. Edwin.
Yeah, ADB has the best Christmas present. They've been able to meet the Bank of Ghana capital requirement that is in the new weekend crusading guide. Charles Bisu rubbished. He spewed lies on Asempa over interministerial committee raid, and Cocoa Board chair flays workers over unreasonable demands. Inside the new crusading guide newspaper, Fenerbahce president wants to make Andre Ayew's loan a permanent signing.
Now, the Daily Heritage is reporting this morning consumption of alcohol in plastics very harmful, and this according to a Made in Ghana ambassador Emilia Arthur. There's a story about national youth policy needing review, and NYA boss is the one saying so. There's another story about cocoa board workers making unreasonable demands. The board chair is the one talking about that. Europa is on the front page too. Get ready for more scandals. This is Samuel Kujato's response to his committee chairman.
When they said that,
who says that he needs to be managed because his political career is on the line.
Media.
How do you manage an MP on a committee? How do you
So now from now on, you will engage on need to know basis.
Okay, in the Daily Statesman, Akufo-Addo can't probe all allegations. Mahama advisor tells NDC, and the Mahama advisor here is Daniel Batidam. More troubles for collapsed banks. That is the Bank of Ghana governor. The directors face investigation and prosecution over the collapse of the banks. Baumia launches NHIS mobile renewal and e-receipts. Digital Baumia.
Now, the Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning, Registrar General gives companies ultimatum to file tax returns. Businessman sues Government Lands Commission over National Cathedral, and plans for election of MMDCs are on course. And that's according to the President of the Republic of Ghana. Those are the stories the Ghanaian Times is presented this morning.
In the Herald newspaper, Akufo-Addo fans Sanitation Ministry accuses Finance Ministry of making errors in 2019 budget. Opuni and Adongo trial lands in troubled waters. 6 Ghanaians going to jail in £1 million fraud case. That story was published on my Joy Online yesterday, but you can also take the Herald newspaper and read a little more.
Now, the Daily Guide is reporting this morning, NDC grabs 2.24 million from 7 aspirants. There is a story about the ADB on the front page too, but failed banks directors to be jailed. This is according to the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Stambik staff killer to die. And if you knew about Rosemont Nyampong, this is the day the man gets to be finally. I'll tell you the details later on.
All right, and Annie, we have the Mirror newspaper.
We have the Mirror, and the front page has a colorful picture of a gift to Efia Oware Abuaji, PhD. She's with the National Service Secretariat. It's an amazing person, and the story is establishing a relationship hub for young, ambitious people. And then the other story, which I'm very much interested in, and I think it goes out to everybody, is that online fraudsters target SMAS shoppers. But you see, the good thing is that if you go to Cantonment, there's no way any internet fraudster will trick you.
No.
Your Nyadwa, your Kobe, and things like that. But if you want to do White Christmas, trust me,
you want to buy
online,
things online and
shoes,
order your things and all of that.
braziers,
all of
those nice things. They're like the ones that you like.
The shoes. I like the shoes a lot.
Exactly.
You've chosen the one you like.
But you know, the Mirror newspaper is the official partner for the JoyFM family party in the park tomorrow. So big ups to the Mirror newspaper.
Yes.
Kudos to all of you guys. And there's a full-page ad in the Daily Graphic
on
as
the
well.
first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me
Yankwe.
a family party in the park.
Where are them parts? Is this 10 hour?
The song is in the Daily Graphic. You can go and listen.
Yeah, page 76 of the Daily Graphic. Just take a look at it. But let me begin with you, Edwin, because a 54-year-old woman has set her husband and rival ablaze.
Tragic story. The story in the Daily Graphic says a 54-year-old woman, her name is Teresa Nkrumah, and her husband Emmanuel Kwame Osam, 55. For some time now, Emmanuel Osam had been cheating on her wife, and because of that, there's been terrible misunderstanding between the two of them. On that particular day, Osam, that is the deceased husband, was sleeping with his rival with his girlfriend, Akosua Tiwa, in Osam's family house. And so the husband actually slept out of the home, and the wife poured petrol into their room, locked up the room, and set the house ablaze. Very premeditated. And the thing is that they actually woke up in the dead of the night screaming that the doors be opened. Before neighbors could break into the door, they had died. Akosua died immediately when she reached the hospital, and Kwame Osam died the next day.
Very unfortunate.
Very tragic.
Very tragic story.
And you know, when they checked, the accused, Teresa Nkrumah, denied, but investigation showed that she had gone to buy a padlock days before, a red padlock at a shop in Jedam, yes, and it was through that purchase that she was linked to the murder.
Yeah. So that's Elizabeth's story.
Yes, but that's not the only story that has been tragic. This year we've actually done several stories of husbands killing wives and wives killing husbands. There was a story in the Daily Graphic, for example, in January 2018, in which a 38-year-old woman used a cutlass and a club to kill a husband, a 54-year-old man.
Why would you resort to
over what the paper said was a slight misunderstanding?
Why would you resort to modes like this in the first place? Let's move on from this quickly. And Raymond, a Islamic staff killer has been convicted.
You know that in 2013, November, Rosemond Nyampon, that was a big story in the country. Many knew her. Her story was very tragic because the woman virtually died a few weeks after the father died too. And this woman's story became very big because for almost 5 years, of course, I mean, it's been 5 years since the matter has been raging in court. Sometimes it gets abandoned. It was one of the cases that we listed as court cases in the country because we're not seeing the resolution of the matter the speedy way that many thought it would be done. But yesterday, an Accra High Court sentenced a 27-year-old auto electrician, the gentleman who is accused and found guilty of this murder, Abraham Oyokoba, and of course, he's been sentenced to death for killing this Stamping Bank former staff. He is from the gentleman who has been sentenced to death, Odumaso Krobo, in the Lower Menya Krobo constituency in the eastern region, and he was actually arrested for strangling the 32-year-old woman in her home. She tried getting help, but nobody heard her, and the gentleman finally succeeded in killing her. She was in charge of risks and credit at one of the Stanbic banks, of course, at the head office here in Accra. And the deceased had not been seen for a couple of days, but her body was found in a very terrible state. That is on the November 13th. That's when the issue came up. And virtually around this time, there were still talks about what was being done to deal with the problem. Because around the same time, we heard of the Roko Frimpong case. Around the same time, we heard of similar methods that was becoming something very worrying to many. Indeed, it reminded us that in the year 2000, we had almost 34 women counting bodies consistently every single week. 34 women killed at different locations, and we're still struggling to get to the bottom of that particular matter.
Okay.
So there was a laptop that linked. The gentleman took a laptop from the place. The laptop is what actually the investigators found in his home later on after taking him there to go and search the place. And that's where they got him linked to the matter. Indeed, he also took the car and a washing machine from the place. That is GT 513310. So that was also linked to him. He first denied, later on accepted that he was guilty. Then he was finally jailed. And this time around, he's supposed to be on the death penalty. Just that, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about death penalties that we don't get to execute and all of the difficulties with that. But that should be good news because this is not the only court case. I mentioned the Roko Frimpong more recently, even more recent cases like Captain Mohammed's case. See what's happening to that particular case in court. Evidence from people being thrown out, and also specifically when it comes to when government of Ghana's representatives are going to court. We always had a difficulty with that. The autopsy report on 5 different occasions, that particular report, I mean, we had to virtually beg the doctor who did the pathology test and all of that to agree to bring it back to the court. The court was very, very worried about how the case was proceeding. J.B. Danko Edu's case, first a similar fate. Remember, the committal court at the lower level committed the people, they took them to the high court, they brought them back. the AG's office had to discontinue, then come back to the lower courts and start afresh. And that case is still in court. And I'm sure you remember May 2015. Yes, the Adams Mahama case too, and how it's been struggling in court.
Yeah.
An interpreter was a problem in the beginning stages.
Just
of
getting someone to interpret the matter was
in this particular case.
unacceptable.
So Fennec Archery is still outstanding as we speak. The only person who was connected to this particular case was discharged along the line, and Fennec Archery died in 2014.
Okay.
So there are so many cases that we wish to see similar speedy action on, so that we can be convinced that when crime is committed, people will be put in jail for it.
But we want to talk a bit more about the failed banks directors who the president has said will be jailed. The president was speaking at the media encounter.
Yes, where you were boldly represented, not with a voice though.
No. Just
I'll not remind you of your woes this morning.
I didn't wait for photo opportunity.
Yes.
No, it's our woes because Raymond and I stayed the night before till about 11 p.m. thinking of intelligent questions to ask.
Don't bring me to the matter.
And then I went to say that we didn't even get to ask half of them, and it was a serious thing. Oh.
But at least you're on the president's Facebook page. He took pictures with you. So
I don't even know if he puts my pictures on the Facebook page in the first place.
Anyway, so the president made an important comment there.
No, wait.
Yes.
No, wait. And how serious was this matter? The man invited us there. He didn't allow us to ask him questions.
Yeah, I think that I don't know, but like it is what it is.
it's baffling.
The man is lost for words.
No, but I think that the thing is that people were also asking us whether or not how many questions will be enough for journalists and what duration because
but it is what it is. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Because you have influential media houses around and stuff.
Edwin
like
Appiah
that.
should have been asking.
And Edwin, know that is what I disagree with you. You understand what I mean? Because like it says a press encounter, you didn't say influential media encounter.
But you see,
the
president said
next time we'll have a influential media.
Let us not go there.
Real.
Yeah, the president made a fundamental statement. I will be asking in this particular office consistently, when are we seeing action? When are we going to see the prosecution of the people who are directly in charge of the banks that collapsed? And we all know that this bank collapse has brought some serious hardship, not only to the workers, but this state has had to cough up. At the last count, it was almost 12 billion of our resources.
More than 12 billion.
Very scarce resources from the state. We have to issue bonds to make sure that we can have the system running. We have to set up the consolidated bank to make sure that we can pick up the pieces. There are people, including Niamano Dodu, who has to go chase people and get the money for the state in this particular case. What is happening is that the president says he's not forgotten about the case. He is assuring the rest of us in this country that those who were responsible for what seemed to be the mass failure in the financial sector will be dealt with. And this is a bold assurance. You know, you've heard other people from the Bank of Ghana, from the finance ministry also make similar comments. But the assurance for the president is huge because you can hold them up to it and demand that when is this going to happen? Because it's a long time we heard the UOCO say they finished a report. They forwarded the report to the AG's department. At least we should see that when people who are big people do things wrong, they can be held responsible for it.
Exactly.
And the front page of the Daily Guide has the pictures of the people that they believe deserve to face the music in this case.
That's according to the Daily Guide.
Yes, the Daily Guide.
Hey, the High Court. The Daily Guide's High Court.
Oh, yes.
Adjudication.
What is your problem? Is that if you are CEO, if you are board chairman, you know yourself. If you know, you know.
Yeah, I like it.
But you know the men's gold clients too have been pressing that something should be done. Government should try and then get those responsible for the delay in the payment of their investments to answer certain questions. And I am particularly worried about how I understand that white-collar crimes, you have to take your time, as Isan Kumas observed the last time. But sometimes you begin to wonder whether we are not being, a little bit selective in the way we take on the high members of society when it comes to their own omissions and commissions. And it is very worrying because I remember the last time a certain bodyguard of a minister took some 800 Ghana cedis, and within 24 hours, he was jailed.
So,
So you begin to wonder.
Justice delivery has a relatively faster.
When it comes, but
When it comes
to be
to
fair, some of the
sectional
cases
society.
are very difficult to prepare for, and don't want to lose the case. You do remember that when the NDC came in some time ago, almost 17 cases, and we were counting the losses in this case. Almost 17 cases. That's That's what brought about Dr. Kamel J's what they call
We
statement.
killed-
There are so many ways to kill the cat because the cat was not being killed in the court.
It's okay. It's
And you
okay.
remember
It's okay.
Betty Modidrisus, we will jail them one by one.
How many did we do?
Oh no, the
It's
after
okay,
17
it's okay.
was
I'm
not.
turning off your mics. Speaking of men's gold, Edwin, listen to this.
The guy tricked some of us. I paid the money, and up to now, that 5%, I haven't got that 5%. Look at me. I have children, my wife. I have a lot of people that are looking up to me.
Because we want people to die because of this thing. My mother, she's dying. If she's standing right in front of you, she'll just urinate on herself because of this money. Because of this money.
Is it her money?
Yes, it's my mother money and my money.
Our families are dying. As I stand here, I have 3 kids. I can't pay school fees. They are in private schools. I can't pay their school fees.
Now, according to a lawyer for some aggrieved men's gold customers, Nana Appiah Mensah has absconded with their cash. How true is this? What are the basis for these allegations, guys? We'll try and find out from these persons
South Africa is
today.
not absconded.
You said?
It's in holidays in South Africa. It's different from absconding. Holidays is different from absconding. If you travel to South Africa,
Okay.
it is holidays. Holidays. Please. Let's not do that to the man.
Maybe he took.
You know where he's hiding in South Africa?
What did he do?
Do you know where he's
I'm not. No, I don't know where.
But you are certain it's in South Africa.
Oh, but I think it's in South Africa. That's what I mean.
It's in a statement that has been released. Okay, you know what you can get in South Africa? There are a lot of Ubers there, as well as here in Ghana. So here are the benefits you get when you ride with Uber. Quick time of arrival, usually between 2 and 5 minutes. So reliable. Upfront fares, which eliminates the need to haggle. You can pay either by card or by cash, and affordability is assured. The online news review coming up next is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy. Now, Goyle says Afishiapa with more bonanza for Ifie customers. There are many rewards still to be claimed at all Goyle service stations. Over 900,000 Goyle customers are getting rewards. This month alone, 800 more customers claimed their ultimate rewards. In November, 720 had theirs. Adepa Ofia Oye. Mohammed Abdullahi Kamin of Tamale is a proud recipient of 1,000 cedis worth of fuel on his Goyle Go card. Many others were also rewarded with 1,000 cedis worth of fuel for accruing the highest points. Just rely on your number 1 OMC and CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year for your fuel and lubricants. Just buy 80 cedis and above. Follow the promotion instructions. Goyle Ifie promo runs till 2019 January. Terms and conditions apply. Now, the Zenith Bank mobile banking code you have been waiting for is finally here. Dial *966# to open an account, transfer funds, top up airtime, pay bills, pay merchants, check accounts balance, and so much more. Banking is easy at Zenith Bank. Just dial *966#. This service is available to account and non-account holders. I'm taking you to my joyonline.com to begin with. 57% vote no to OT region creation in Joy News poll. Yeah, you want to get the details of that. That 57% represents some 3,990 people. There's a video of Boris Kojo, who is to storm Ghana with 40 top celebrities. Ooh, exciting. You want to get that on myjoyonline.com. The BBC.com says, the angel who secretly pays patients' hospital bills. Read that amazing story on the BBC. Speaking of the BBC, let's take a few messages and then go for the BBC News itself on top of the hour. Stay with us. We'll be back.
This was Kwame's life before Interplast in